What day. I know this is not our usual So What day, so I appreciate you all rearranging your schedules if you needed to do that to join me on Thursday instead of on our regular Tuesday So What time slot. So thanks to all of you for being flexible. I am back. It is so great to be back on So What. As some of you probably know, I was in Europe for our Sulky craft tours trip, and I was coming to you on So What for some pre-recorded videos. So I hope you all enjoyed those. I was going through the comments this morning, and it sounds like you all had a good time with your mystery boxes. I'll be talking about that momentarily. But I just wanted to share some highlights. The reason I couldn't be with you on Tuesday is because basically I had no voice to even talk to you. So when I was coming back, it seemed like I was traveling for 17 hours straight, and I lost count of how many hours I was traveling to get back here. So at any rate, it did a number on my vocal cords, and you can tell I still have a little bit of a voice I need to get back. So thank you, Christy, who says welcome home. Appreciate that. We had a wonderful time. There were 30 people on this tour, and we just became fast friends. If you joined on the trip and you are watching, give me a thumbs up or say hello in the comments, please, so I can say hi to you. I met so many of you who watch So What and who are just fans of Sulky, and we had a wonderful, wonderful time. You know, it seemed like we were ahead of the rain constantly, so we had great weather. We had a couple of soggy days where we had to bring our umbrellas, but other than that, the world was good to us, so we had a great time. One of the highlights was going to a silk factory in Milan. It's called the Ratti Silk Factory, and they don't open their doors to the general public like ever. So you have to get security clearance. We had to show our passports. We had to get a special lanyard to get through the doors, and it all felt very exclusive and very special. And we got to go shopping there. They have a sample area where you can get silk scarves and ties and silk bound journals, and all sorts of beautiful, beautiful designer wraps and things for a fraction of the cost of what you would find it there, as well as, you know, what you would find it for here. So for about 10 or 15 euro, we were getting these beautiful scarves, 100% silk, some silk woolens. I mean, it was the craziest shopping moment. We all just came in and started digging through. So that was really, really fun. And of course, spending the day in Florence was another highlight. It was very, very busy out there. But, you know, we had a guided tour of all the, you know, things to do and see in Florence. And then we got some time on our own to, again, go shopping for some leather goods, purses, just all kinds of stuff. And of course, the coffee breaks and the food was amazing. But most importantly, we got to be together, meet a lot of new friends, and I just am so thankful for the experience. So I'm looking forward to doing some more craft tours in the future. And we, of course, will let you all know here first, so you can start browsing our upcoming offerings with craft tours. All right, so this is our last So What during National Sewing Month. So I thought it best to go through a number of projects. I'm going to go through lots of projects today. So mark down the things that you want to purchase at sulky.com or the free patterns that you need to find. I also linked to everything in the description of today's post. So be sure to hit that See More button so that will all pop out and you'll have those links that you can head to when we're done talking here today. And let's see, lots of events coming up. So lots and lots to talk about. And yes, for all of you who are joining from Florida, Brenda says she's okay, never lost power. So we are thinking about you out there as well. Before we dive into all of these National Sewing Month themed projects that I'm talking about, these projects are not only to sort of decorate your sewing room with, but also to take care of your most precious sewing supplies. So I think we will have fun with these today. But before we get started, who grabbed up a mystery box last week when we launched our fall 2022 mystery box? I'm so curious to see how many of you grabbed up one of these boxes. We do have some more of these boxes available. So if you were not able to get one last week, or you didn't tune in to the So What last week, our 2022 fall mystery box is available now. And this has so many great products inside of it. Even some of our tour goers set their alarms to get their mystery boxes last week because, we were 8 hours ahead, or 6 hours ahead rather, from Eastern time. So they even set their alarm so that they made sure to grab a mystery box. And I hope that you did too. Lori says she got her mystery box the other day. Glad to hear it. And in this box, I actually unveiled a lot of the products in this box on last week's So What. So if you want to see the unveiling of some of the products that you could get in your mystery box, you can head to our YouTube channel. You might be watching us on YouTube here today and go to last week's So What, and you can view that in its entirety. But I hope you grab up one of those mystery boxes because they are still on sale. For only $34.99, you get more than $50 worth of goodies in your box. And it's so fun to open the box and kind of see what you've gifted yourself. Kim is on. Hi, Kim. Kim joined our craft tours trip, and I'm so glad to see you. And Kim, I have your kit. I actually gave it to our tour guide, our fearless tour guide from Craft Tours. I gave it to her to give to you in the morning, and in the 2 a.m. craziness or 3 a.m. craziness of getting everyone to the airport on time, she threw her shawl over it and forgot to bring it downstairs for you. So get in touch with me because I want to get you your kit. I taught 2 hands-on sewing workshops during our Craft Tours trip. And Kim actually missed out on one of the classes because she was doing some sightseeing on her own. So at any rate, sorry for the personal conversation, everyone. But that's what's going on. Okay, where was I? Mystery box. Okay, if you didn't grab one, you can still get one. We have limited quantities left. So I wanted to make sure that you were all aware that those are still available. So please grab one of those up and let us know how you enjoyed everything in your mystery box. I love hearing how everyone liked everything. There's fabric in this box. And I got to pick a lot of the items that go in this box. So you could get some of the things that I discussed last week. You could get different things. Each box varies just a little bit. So that's what really makes it really fun. Okay, so let's dive into project number 1. I have to work kind of backwards here today with my photos. The first project I'm going to go over today is our sewing themed shelf sitter pillow. Now, I call this a shelf sitter pillow because it's so small and cute, and it could fit right on your shelf in your sewing room. See how this fits? Like right here on my cute little bookshelf. So it's the perfect size for that, but you could also put a little ribbon in here and hang this on your doorknob on your sewing room. You could also leave out the stuffing, and it's a cute little wall hanging or even mug rug. So lots of things you can do with this idea, and you can make it your own. And these also look cute clustered with larger pillows and things of that nature. So this features a design from our Love to Sew machine embroidery palette. And as you know, when we call it a palette, that means that along with this design collection, you also get the thread that you need to stitch out the designs. So this palette comes with 6 spools of Sulky rayon thread in all these colors that you see featured in these designs. And in the Love to Sew machine embroidery collection, you get 6 fun sewing themed designs. So the design I chose for this pillow is full bobbins, full hearts. So cute. Love that. And the size of this design is what determined the size of the pillow. So if you want to choose one of the other designs that's in this palette, you could certainly do that and just trim up your Felty, which is what we're using for the center block of this pillow. Trim that up just around your design and then create your borders to go along with it. So very, very easy to modify this pattern, the cutting instructions, the finished pillow dimensions to suit the embroidery design of your choice. All right. So, I forgot to mention today's freebie, or excuse me, today's sort of door prize for So What today is going to be a mystery box. So one of you who is watching, commenting, sharing, engaging with the post will win a mystery box. And I will pick the winner in about a day or so. So everybody has a chance to watch, even if they can't join us for the live stream. All you have to do is engage with the post and make sure you like the Sulky Facebook page or subscribe to our YouTube channel. Because if you don't, I don't have a way of contacting you if you're the winner. All right. So, sorry, I'm kind of going back and forth here. I got to get in the So What groove. All right, back to our pillow. First thing we need to do is gather our supplies. So I mentioned that we're going to be doing the machine embroidery on a sheet of Sulky Felty. And if you've watched a lot of So What's, then you are well aware that we carry Sulky Felty sheets. They are pre-cut sheets that come in assortment packs. We have them in a rainbow pack, which is where you will find this beautiful teal color. We have them in a neutral pack, which has, your creams, your browns, your gray shades. And then we also have them in a heathered pack. And that's going to be like your olive greens and grays and with that mottled look to them. So the Felty is what we're going to be doing the machine embroidery on. And you can really see how the embroidery just pops off of this Felty background. And it's so easy to embroider. I'm going to go over the process with you, but you need that Sticky Plus stabilizer for the Felty. Sticky Plus is a sticky-backed tearaway stabilizer that has a good weight to it. So it works really, really well with that Felty. Also, of course, you need some fun sewing themed cotton fabric. And this, I just happen to have in my stash, but it has all cute little, sewing motifs on it. So if you happen to have a sewing motif, it's perfect for this project. But if you don't, obviously you can just use whatever fabric you desire. Also, you will need your threads for embroidery, which I mentioned previously. These thread colors I pulled from that Love to Sew machine embroidery palette, but you could also use, the thread of your choice for your embroidery design. I used Sulky bobbin thread, our 60 weight bobbin thread for behind the embroidery. And then you also need some construction thread. And for this, I just used Sulky 50 weight cotton thread to construct the pillow. It's nice and strong, long staple thread. And I just chose cotton because I was working with quilting cotton fabrics. Now for the top stitching that I'm going to show you, I chose one of the rayon threads that came with the palette so that I had prominent, pretty top stitching that coordinated well with the machine embroidery. Okay, so first things first, and actually this is not the first image, so I apologize for that. I wanted to tell you actually that for this embroidery design, the teal thread color that came with the palette, as you can see, it kind of blended into the Felty. Do you see that on the left-hand side of these two images? You can't even read it because it's almost the exact color of the Felty. So I bumped up that color a little bit and went with a little bit more contrast. So I did manage to, or I did swap one of those colors that is in the embroidery design, and I just stitched right over the top of the first part of the embroidery design rather than starting from scratch. Once I realized that that thread wasn't going to work, I stopped the machine and I just went right over it with a darker color. So you can see that it's almost inconspicuous that I went over that first color, but it does look a little bit thicker than the lettering down below. So in hindsight, I probably should have stitched out all of Full Bobbins Full Hearts, then gone over it with the darker color, or just started over. But at any rate, I wanted to show you the difference you can see on the left-hand side versus the right side where I've stitched out those two L's in the word full. Now you can really see those letters pop off of the surface. So don't be afraid to deviate from the color palette when you're matching your threads up to the fabrics or the Felty that you're working with. All right, so first we've got to hoop our stabilizer. We're not going to hoop the Felty. It's a little bit thick to fit in the hoop. Now, if you have magnetic hoops, you don't need to worry about doing hoopless embroidery, but that's what I'm going to show here so that those people who don't have magnetic hoops know what to do and how to attach the Felty to the stabilizer without marring it. Because if we were going to hoop that Felty, the hoop would put too much pressure on the Felty and it could result in what we call hoop burn. Hoop burn is when the hoop marks the fabric and it's irrecoverable once you take the fabric out of the hoop. So anything that has a nap or a texture to it, like this Felty, you don't want to put into the hoop and tighten it because you run the risk of marring the Felty. So first, we're going to hoop the Sticky Plus with the fabric side, or excuse me, the paper side facing up so that we can see the Sulky Sticky Plus logo and we can see those grid lines. Now we're going to score the paper without going through the stabilizer by using our Sticky Plus slitting pen. I talk about this on almost every single So What. I can't even remember a time I didn't bring it up because it's one of my favorite notions at sulky.com. So grab your slitting pen and you're going to score that paper, revealing the sticky stabilizer side. So now that the paper is scored, peel off the paper backing and you will have your sticky surface where you can place your Felty in the hoop. So here we have the Felty. And I just started off with the whole sheet of Felty and placed it in the hoop. And this allows me to cut out my piece after the embroidery is complete. That way, if it's a little off center or I didn't get the Felty in the hoop perfectly straight, I can remedy that after the embroidery is complete and trim up my Felty because there's no grain to this. So it's not going to matter if I cut it a little askew just to make sure that my embroidery is centered on that center rectangle. So now that the Felty is secured on the Sticky Plus, we're going to do our embroidery design. So make sure that you are referring to the color sequence chart. Even if you decide to change up one of the colors, always bring up that color sequence chart to see which part of the design is going to sew out when. Sometimes with machine brands and models, if we come out with a ton of new colors or a new thread type, and those threads are not imported into your machine by the manufacturer, it's not going to read those colors properly according to the intended color chart. So you always want to print out or just bring up the color chart PDF onto your screen. If your computer or tablet is next to your sewing machine, you don't have to print it out, but you certainly could. And then you can always mark off the colors you're swapping out. That way, as you work your way through the design, you have a visual clue of, oh yeah, this is where I'm going to use that darker teal color. Okay, so refer to your color chart, stitch out your design, and then make sure that you are clipping those jump threads with each thread change. I like to use our curved tip squeezers for this. The curved tip makes it so that when you go to clip your threads, the tip of your scissors aren't going to puncture through the Felty. So see how they're curved so they pop off of the surface, allowing you to clip those jump threads without poking through anything. Plus they are spring action, so they're super easy and quick to work your way through trimming your jump threads. There are a few questions about the slitting pen. Dorothy says, does the pen work better than a pin? It absolutely does. And here is why. So, I just had it here. So when you score your stabilizer using a pin, you run the risk of slicing through all the layers of stabilizer, the paper backing and the stabilizer itself. So even if you poke holes to kind of perforate a line to peel away that paper backing, you really could run the risk of poking through your stabilizer. And then you'd have to patch it or discard it or use it in a smaller hoop. It happens to the best of us all the time. So the slitting pen has a very sharp tip to it, but it's not sharp enough to go through the stabilizer itself. It only goes through that paper backing, which is actually called filmoplast. So somehow the geniuses that made this little tool made it so that this point only goes through that paper backing. Now, I have really tried and given it a go and put some crazy pressure on this to try and slice through the stabilizer as well, just to see how far I could take this little tool. And, if you really, really try, you can slice through it as well. But you really have to put a lot of pressure behind the tool. So if you are simply scoring that paper, you don't have to worry about this tip going through the stabilizer itself. So in my opinion, yes, it's way better than using a pin, and definitely better than using the tip of scissors. Even if you're using curved end scissors or dull scissors, you can still slice right through that stabilizer. And that is a big bummer. All right. So when your embroidery is complete, we're going to remove our stabilizer from the hoop and then gently tear away the stabilizer beyond the design. And you can clean up your jump threads on the back side of your work as well, so that your stabilizer tears away nice and cleanly. And it tears away so well from this Felty. It's just the best. A high quality felt that's washable, that you can iron, that takes a lot of stitches without buckling. It's just such a great product. Okay. So after we've removed the stabilizer, now it's time to trim up that center embroidered block. So you can refer to the pattern, the blog post. I wrote up all the directions in the blog post that I linked to in the description of the live stream here today. So you can head on over to the Sulky blog, get all the dimensions for cutting, all the directions, so you don't need to write anything down here. You can head on over to the blog after we talk today and get the full instructions. So don't worry about that. But basically, I gave quite a wide border beyond the embroidery design. And that's because I'm actually not going to piece my quilting cotton fabrics. I'm going to lay them on top of the Felty and top stitch them down instead. That's going to give me the stability of the Felty beyond the quilting cotton, and it's just so much easier to construct it this way. All right, so speaking of those borders, now we are going to use a clover hot ruler to turn one edge, the long edge, of our border pieces so that they're nice and accurate. If you've never used a clover hot ruler, we have these at sulky.com, and they're so awesome when you need to double fold an edge, like for a hem or something like this, or when you're working with small things like these small strips where you just need a 1/4 of an inch folded to the wrong side, or even a 1/2 inch folded to the wrong side. You fold it over this hot ruler and then iron it down. So you get a consistent fold line across the length of your fabric. It is one of the best, most time-saving tools, and you get such an accurate, nice fold line. So I highly suggest that. All right, so once you have folded the edges of your border strips, and again, these are all the dimensions are in the blog post, so you don't need to worry about that. Then, here are the long ones with that one long edge folded. Also, I want to mention, if you're working with a directional fabric print, which this is a directional fabric print, you can see that we want to be able to read the things on the fabric the correct way. We don't want this upside down, right? So if you're working with a directional fabric print, make sure you're cutting your border strips so that you also can read or look at your motifs right side up. Okay. So after we have folded that one long edge, we are simply going to first place our short border edges in place and then overlap them with the long border edges so that our folds are all towards the center. So we are framing our beautiful machine embroidery with those border strips, and we are placing those right over the top of the Felty. So now we just need to pin those in place so that nothing is going to shift or move, and we're just going to top stitch along all the fold lines. So first you can top stitch your short edges and then place your long border edges and top stitch along those fold lines. Super easy, no piecing is needed to do at all, and you can choose one of the beautiful threads in that Love to Sew machine embroidery palette for your top stitching, as long as it matches your matches your fabrics and coordinates with the project well. So here we are doing the top stitching. That is the during and the after photo. And then you can just trim up your edges if you need to a little bit so that everything is nice and neat and tidy. There you go. Now you can see the top stitching is complete. And just for ease and to make sure nothing's going to go anywhere, we're going to baste the perimeter of our front pillow piece. So just set your machine for a long stitch, 5.0 stitch length, and baste the perimeter. Now we get to add the fun little pom-pom trim. You all know I love the pom-poms, right? These are mini pom-poms and they are so adorable. And I really think it just adds a little bit of cuteness to the pillow. You could certainly go without the pom-pom fringe, or add a piece of ribbon that's poking out, or a piece of piping, whatever you have in your stash. But this mini pom-pom fringe is sold, well, I found it where the spools of ribbon are, and very inexpensive, like $2 or something for the whole spool of mini fringe. So it just adds a little something and makes it super cute. So we're going to baste our trim now. If you happen to have a piping foot or a, I think they're called Fringe Foot on your machine, basically, or available for your sewing machine, basically, I'm showing you a zipper foot here, but a fringe foot has a little groove in the center of it, so that, or it might be along one side, depending on your machine brand, and so that when you put your foot down, that little groove goes right over the trim, and it allows you to stitch over that trim without smushing it or shifting it out of place. Now, I don't have one of those feet, so I simply adjusted my presser foot pressure on my sewing machine, just raised up my presser foot a little bit to accommodate the thickness of the trim, and basted along the trim end, or edge rather. So you can see my pom-poms are all facing toward the center. And yes, rickrack would be a cute idea. I put my beginning and trim ends at the corner, and that is so that I could overlap them and kind of make it around the corner and then just trim those up. And it gives a very inconspicuous join. I mean, I can't even tell you which corner I did that on. That's how inconspicuous it is. So just overlap your trim ends when you make your perimeter basting stitches, and then just trim those up. So there it is being trimmed. And now our front pillow is complete, and we're going to work on the back of the pillow. Now, since on the front of the pillow, we have the addition of the Felty, and it's making it a little bit plush, I wanted to add a little bit of plushiness to the back part of the pillow. And I really recommend this when you're making all kinds of pillows, even if you're just making a throw pillow. The addition of a layer of batting behind your pillow fabric, even if you're going to use a pillow form insert, or if you're going to add fiber fill to stuff it, which is what we're doing here, the additional layer of that batting makes your pillow so smooth from the outside. So I highly recommend it. So right here, we're using some Sulky KK2000, which is our air-soluble temporary spray adhesive. And you're just going to attach your backing, your pillow back, to a layer of batting, just using that temporary spray adhesive. And now we're going to place those right sides together. And you can see here, I didn't do a great job of removing that tearaway stabilizer. And quite honestly, you can't tell from the right side of the Felty, but you could get in there and remove it a little bit better than I did. And what's going to help that is clipping your jump threads. You can see I got a little lazy and I didn't clip them all, so my stabilizer didn't tear away really cleanly. The only reason for that is because I didn't clip the jump threads and I didn't just take more time with it. But since our Felty is such a heavier weight, my pillow is still nice and pliable, and that additional, stabilizer behind the design honestly isn't doing much harm, in my humble opinion. Okay, so now we have our pillow front and our pillow back right sides together, and you're going to go just inside of your basting stitches to stitch your front to your back. And you want to make sure to leave an opening along, let's say, the lower edge for turning your pillow right side out. So after you turn it right side out, you're going to fill it with a bunch of fiber fill so that it's plump to your liking. And then simply hand sew your opening shut. Use a slip stitch or some kind of invisible stitch that you prefer. You can see also that I've used some wonder clips to clip my opening shut. It's just easier than pins at this point since you've got such fullness going on. It's easier to just use a couple of binder clips or wonder clips to close your opening while you do your quick slip stitch and stitch that opening shut. And then you have your finished little shelf sitter pillow. So super, super cute, very, very simple to do. You could make these for friends, make them really simply and quickly, and churn out a bunch of these. So if you have an assortment pack of Felty, you can get a lot of these done and gift them to your sewing buddies and have a great time with it. All right, let's make sure we don't have any questions. Oh, Ella says, I have not tried wonder clips yet. I need to get some. They are one of the game changers in sewing and quilting, I must say. I use them all the time. If you ever work with faux leathers, cork fabrics, things that you cannot use pins for, the wonder clips are invaluable. And I absolutely love them for binding, for things like table runners, quilts especially. They just are so much easier than pins, especially when you're doing that final hand sewing. If you like to hand sew the backs of your bindings, which I prefer to do, then you don't have pins getting in your way and poking you while you're doing all of that hand work at the very end of your quilt projects. All right, lots of people are saying yay to wonder clips. And yes, we do have those at sulky.com as well. All right, so now that we have a little decor in our sewing room, I am going to go to some really cute scissor case projects. And I reviewed some of these. I forgot to put one of them in my picture bank for today, but that's okay. It's called the Scissor Stasher. And let's see, did I forget to do that? I have to get a little closer to my screen. I forgot to add the Scissor Stasher, but we have so much to talk about today that it's okay. And you will still find the links for it in the description of today's post. So a while back, we did a free webcast that was called Scissor Stasher. And it's a little scissor case that you can wear around your neck. And it's great for your smaller scissors, for your curved tip squeezers. It's even large enough to hold like a couple spools of thread. So if you're working on a specific project and these are the 2 thread spools you're using, and you always want to have your clips at hand as you move from your cutting table to your ironing board back to your sewing machine. It's a really fun project, and it's all done in the hoop of your embroidery machine. And we still have some kits for the Scissor Stasher available if you're interested in that. I linked directly to it in the description of today's post, so you can find the Scissor Stasher and check that one out on your own. But what I first wanted to talk about is this scissor case. Now, this might look familiar to you, and that's because it is a take on our candy corn clutch that we did a couple of months ago. So here is the candy corn clutch with the cute little candy corn charm, right, that I made into earrings and everything if you joined us for the candy corn clutch. It features glow-in-the-dark thread, stippling, cute top stitching and decorative stitches, a zipper that's done entirely in the hoop of your embroidery machine. And when we did our candy corn clutch free webcast with Suki Sews, a bunch of people wrote in and said, this is the perfect shape to hold my fabric scissors. So I thought, brilliant, let's do that. And in fact, it is the perfect shape to hold a pair of scissors. So I have my grandmother's hand-me-down pinking shears stored in mine right now. And I'm going to go through and show you a little bit of the process, but you can definitely register for our free Candy Corn Clutch webcast. If you didn't join us on the live date, you can still watch it on demand, and you'll see how it all comes together. With the Candy Corn Clutch kit, you will get these colors of Felty. So again, this one is made out of that great Felty, which pads your scissors pretty well as well. There's also a layer of batting inside. So it's so great for storing scissors. And I think whoever was the first to mention that it would be great for this. So it comes in 2 sizes. The design comes with the purchase of the kit, and you will get this large size, and then you will also get the files for the smaller size. So the smaller size fits my little trusty sharp scissors that you see in the photo there. And it's so cute. First off, I have to show you, for those of you wondering about the earrings, since I mentioned it, you also get the charm design for the candy corn little zipper pull, but I made mine into cute little earrings. Aren't these cute? And you use the Sulky glowy thread for these, so you can glow in the dark and wear these on Halloween night or to a Halloween party. Super cute. I also decided to do another candy corn charm because you can get 4 of these done in one hooping. So why not stitch out 4 and then figure out different uses for them? I made a little faux leather tassel and put one of the charms on a little ring. And then this is great for your keys, or you can put it on a handbag as a little, Halloween accoutrement as you go through the month of October here, which we are quickly approaching. All right, so back to this design as a scissor case. First off, I chose a really pretty Sulky variegated rayon thread. Did you all know that we have variegated rayons? Like a whole bunch of variegated rayon colors, and they are so fun to use. These are a little bit different from our blendables threads, right? Because the blendables are only available in our cotton threads, in the 12 weight and 30 weight cotton threads. But did you also know we have variegated rayons? You should really check them out because there are some beautiful colors for you to use. So I thought it would be fun in my little scissor case variation to use just one thread for the whole project. Now, for this candy corn clutch, we use a few different threads so that they coordinate with the Felty colors. You can see there's an orange thread here, then there's the white glowy, there's the yellow glowy. So lots of different threads used for this version. But I thought it would be fun to use this purple variegated rayon and use that for the entire construction. So I never swapped out the thread. I did, however, use the Sulky 60 weight bobbin thread in the bobbin. You want a little bit lighter weight bobbin thread for that balanced stitch out so that a little bit of your top thread is pulled toward the wrong side. That's how we know that it's a balanced stitch out. All right, so fun variegated threads. So this is just a little bit showing you how the project comes together in the hoop of your embroidery machine. And like I said, there's some batting involved as well and a zipper. And I can't think of an easier way to insert a zipper than having your embroidery machine do it for you. And you can see that my zipper is a little bit long for the project. And that's great because we want to pull our zipper pull to the end. And then when the instructions tell us to, we're going to move it to the center of the project so that we can open everything up and turn it right side out when we need to. But for this portion of the stitch out, it looks like I have no zipper pull. That is just because I've pulled it out of the way of the stitching, and then later on, after the zipper is sewn in, we can move it towards the center because your needle is actually going to skip over the teeth when it is stitching out. Pretty neat. And then here is just a shot to show you that I used a magnetic hoop for constructing this because some people during the webcast asked if a magnetic hoop would be suitable for this project. So I wanted to give it a try firsthand so I could tell you that yes, the magnetic hoop works totally fine for this in the hoop project. So you can see this has all those layers. It has the zipper in place. It has the batting, the backing, all the pieced fabrics in the front that are done in the hoop. Here's just another vantage point so that you can see when you are doing your final stitch around the candy corn clutch, it also jumps to give you, whoops, I'm losing my fabric here. I'll talk about that momentarily. I have so many things in the works around me right now. It's kind of crazy. All right, so your needle will also skip to leave you an opening in your final perimeter stitching. It's so fun to watch these in the hoop embroidery stitch out and all the thoughtful little touches that the designers put in there to make our lives so much easier. So if you haven't made a candy corn clutch yet, you can still grab up the embroidery design files at sulky.com. You can still grab up a kit and you can make one of these before Halloween is even a thought, before you've even decorated for Halloween. Although some of us may have already started. Just saying, I love Halloween. Okay. I wanted to show you this picture as well because during our webcast, Sue O'Very Pruitt of Suki Sews, she used this nifty tool to turn the candy corn clutch right side out. And she sent me one. It's called the Easy Point and Turner. And this is her product. So you can get it at sukisews.com. And it is so cool. You'll see her demo it in the webcast. So if you missed that webcast, again, you can watch it on demand at any time. Go to sewingonline.sulky.com and find the Candy Corn Clutch webcast. I also linked directly to that product or to that event in the description of today's post. So you can easily go over, add that to your own personal library, watch it at any time. You'll see her demoing this really cool product, but I had to try it out for myself. And you can imagine with the layer of batting and this cute little corner that we have to turn right side out, it's a little bit of a bear. But what you do is you stick one side of the Easy Point and Turner right in the corner within the seam allowance, and then you stick the other one through the project, through the zipper, and then you can flip it right side out and get all of your corners nice and flat. And it's really, really a great tool. So if you do a lot of tube turning or turning of little corners and ends like this, it's a really, really cool nifty invention that she has on her website. All right, and then after you turn it right side out, that's all you have to do. You actually turn it twice because first you turn it so that the lining is right side out, then you turn it so that the whole project is right side out because you do have to do a little bit of whip stitching or slip stitching for that little opening that I mentioned to get that shut. And then you'll turn the whole thing right side out again and find your perfect pair of scissors to store inside. Or, of course, if you are making the candy corn clutch, you can fill it with great treats for Halloween, full-size candy bars, gift these to the littles in your life, or even use this as a clutch for your items when you're out and about for Halloween. The large one is a great size for, your ID and a little bit of cash and a little bit of essentials for going out to a Halloween party. Of course, you have your cute little glow-in-the-dark charm as well. And then the smaller size is a great little coin pouch, or for some smaller little candies. And this also makes a great little school supply pouch. My kids all want one of these, and they all want it to be candy corn themed. Regardless of whether it's Halloween or not, they think it is the cutest thing. And so do I, and I hope you do too. So I wanted to just show you how that comes together. Oh, there we go. There's the picture of my pinking shears inside of the large case as well. So lots of different uses for this project. So even after Halloween is done, you can use it to store scissors and sewing supplies and things of that nature as well. Doesn't just have to be for Halloween. All right, so I know I'm talking a lot today, and I had some more scissor cases I wanted to go over. I did mention the Scissor Stasher for smaller scissors that you would wear around your neck, so check that one out. I also want you to check out our Dini Pouch, because this was really made to store sewing supplies. You open up the zipper and it opens up totally flat. Inside are mesh pockets to hold a rotary cutter, a small clear ruler perhaps, like this, your smaller scissors. You can also fit some thread spools inside. That large pouch is really sized for a larger rotary cutter, and the smaller one is great for pens, pencils, art supplies, things like that. So this is another great project to house your precious sewing supplies and kind of celebrate National Sewing Month as we bid adieu to National Sewing Month. All right, I'm not going to go into that one in depth because we also have a sewing session at sewingonline.sulky.com where you can get an entire set of videos that helps you work your way through that project. But I wanted to bring it up because we have a limited amount of kits available for the Dini Pouch. It's a Sally Tomato pattern, and it includes Sally Tomato faux leathers and materials and sulky threads, everything that you need to create your Dini Pouch. And it is on super duper sale right now because we have our National Sewing Month sale going on until October 3rd. So you have a limited time to grab up this Dini Pouch. If you were kind of on the fence about it, now is the time to pull the trigger. And it also, you'll be able to create a cool little fringy zipper pull charm. And you'll learn how to make these so that you can put them on all kinds of things, because we never ever want to discard beautiful faux leather fabrics. There's always ways to use up the excess. Your fringe doesn't even have to be this long. It could be shorter. Lots of ways to use up any cutoffs that we have from the project. So if you want to grab up a Dini Pouch kit, and head on over to sewingonline.sulky.com and grab up the embroidery or the sewing session that goes along with it so that you have all the videos and you can work your way through this project. The kit is on sale for only $28.99. I mean, that is absolutely crazy. So I highly suggest grab that kit because once it's gone, it's gone. We will not be reproducing this kit. These are the last, and I think there's only like 20 or something available. So get one while you can. And Linda, same. She says, I'm getting addicted to Sally Tomato. We absolutely love working with Sally Tomato, and their patterns are so just thoughtfully prepared and unique and really smart. Okay. All right. So I know I'm going a little bit long today, but I definitely want to make sure you're all aware of our latest free pattern at sulky.com. This is the Nifty Needle Case pattern, and it was designed by Chelsea Briner of So Simple Home. And this one comes together really quickly as well. So it stores your precious needles, hand sewing needles. You could put your machine needles in here. And again, it also features Sulky Felty. That's what we're going to use on the inside as the pages of the book where we're going to insert our needles so that they are at hand, right? So we're basically making a little book, and it also has a pocket on the inside where you could store a little pair of snips, even a couple thread spools. So this is a great addition to your scissor case, your Dini pouch, keeping your precious notions neat and tidy. So I'm going to go through this project rather quickly, but again, it is a free project at sulky.com. So all you have to do is add it to your cart at sulky.com. It'll come up as $0. Go through the checkout process so that it gets added to your Sulky account. From there, you can download the entire pattern PDF and work your way through the project. So to start, again, we're going to gather our supplies. For this, you need some Sulky 12-weight cotton petites thread. This is the thread that Chelsea used for the hand embroidery on the front of the needle case. Now, you could choose a machine embroidery design if you would like to showcase that on the front of your needle case, or you can leave it plain and showcase a fun fabric. You don't have to do hand embroidery on the front of the needle case, but the hand embroidery design that she did for the project is also included in the pattern. So you'll print that hand embroidery design onto a sheet of sticky Fabri-Solvi. Sticky Fabri-Solvi is actually the same product as Sulky Stick and Stitch, which I thought I had right here. Stick and Stitch is a water-soluble sheet of stabilizer that is printable. You see how this one side kind of looks like fabric? It's not fabric at all. It's kind of like a pulpy, perforated sticker. I don't really know how else to describe it. One side is sticky, that has your paper backing. The other side kind of feels fabric-like. So you want to make sure to print your design onto the fabric-like side, and you can use either sticky Fabri-Solvi sheets or stick and stitch sheets. They both come in 8.5 by 11 inch sheets so that you can run it through your printer and transfer your design. All right. So here we have the design, which is on the right side, printed onto a sheet of sticky Fabri-Solvi or stick and stitch. And on the left, we have the pattern pieces printed out onto regular paper. So when you're printing out your design onto the stick and stitch, make sure you only select that page so that it doesn't print, multiple things onto multiple sheets of stick and stitch. We always recommend that you set your printer for the lowest ink setting or the draft setting on your printer if available, because you don't need to oversaturate the stabilizer with ink. You just need to be able to see the design so that you can stitch right through it. So prepare your pattern pieces, grab up your thread and needles and fabrics that you need, and all of those requirements are right within the pattern. So you'll have all the dimensions you need to cut, all the different fabrics, and the Felty that you need. All right, so then you're going to use your pattern to cut out your fabric pieces. And now we have the front of the needle case. And actually, Chelsea decided to use a different fabric for the spine of the needle booklet. But you could use just one piece of fabric and just use a fabric rectangle that you're then going to fold in half to create your book. Or you can use a fun contrasting print for the spine, and the instructions are all in the pattern. So now you're going to stick your printed design sticker right onto the right side of your fabric. And you can see that she has kept the design along that right side there, so it's not going into her spine fabric. But if you are using just one solid fabric for the entire front, just fold it in half, and then you can place your design and kind of center it up along the front of your needle case. And so this is just kind of a picture tutorial or a pictorial of how she did the lazy daisy stitches to come up with her design. And she swapped thread colors within each daisy for some of them, which I thought was a really cute little designer touch. So not all of them are made of a single color. And she went with a red, white, and blue color scheme just to match her fabrics, but you could certainly use whatever thread colors you want in the Sulky cotton petites. And she used 2 strands of the thread, which equals 4 strands of traditional embroidery floss. Or you could just use 1 strand of the cotton petites, and that's going to equal 2 strands of traditional embroidery floss. All right. And someone is saying, I'm not a big hand sewer. And I get you. If you're not a big hand sewer, you certainly don't need to do hand embroidery. You could choose an embroidery design. A monogram would look really cool on your needle case. Or again, you could leave it without and just showcase a fun fabric on your needle case. Oops, let me go back to that previous one. Once your embroidery is complete, you could see on number 3 there that stick and stitch is attached through the whole process. When your embroidery is complete, you're just going to rinse away the stabilizer under running water. And you can use lukewarm water or a little bit warmer water. Cold water will also work. It's just going to take a little bit longer for the stabilizer to dissolve, but it's going to dissolve all away. And you want to make sure to rinse it so that the water is running off of the fabric. You don't want the water pooling over the stabilizer, and you don't want to put it into just a sink of water to dissolve, because what can happen is the stabilizer will kind of lift up off of the fabric surface and could migrate elsewhere. And since we have ink in the stabilizer, we don't want to transfer ink elsewhere onto the fabric. So that's why we really recommend that you rinse it away so that the water is running off of the project, not pooling above the fabric. All right. So once you have your stabilizer all rinsed away, you're going to let that dry flat on a towel. When it's dry, you can give it a little bit of a press from the wrong side. We don't want to harm our embroidery or anything, but just to make sure it's nice and flat. So now we're going to work on the inside of the needle case. So we've got our pocket piece, and it's folded so that there's an upper edge fold so that that edge is nice and finished. And you're going to place that pocket onto the lining piece of the needle case. It just comes together so quickly. And once you've done that, you're going to place the front piece, the embroidered piece, over that lining piece that has the pocket basted. And you're going to add a layer of batting. Once you have done that, you are going to sew the perimeter, leaving an opening along the lower edge so that you can turn it right side out. And then after sewing the perimeter, you will clip your 4 corners. See how she's clipped those there? That's how we're going to get nice and crisp corners when we turn it right side out. Make sure you don't clip into the stitching, but you are just to the other side of it. You can also trim up your seam allowances a little bit if you would like to. Now we are going to close that opening with a little bit of hand sewing once we have it right side out. And now we have basically what we did with our pillow, right? You have your front and back, it's all sewn shut. And now we're going to add the pages of our needle book, which are made out of the Sulky Felty. So you're going to cut your Sulky Felty according to the pattern and layer 2 pieces of it right on top of the lining of your needle case. So over the top of that pocket as well. And you just want to stitch down the center of your Felty sheets. So now we have the pages in our needle book. And then you can simply insert your favorite needles, handwork needles, machine needles. You can even add labels to this. So if you want to label it with 80-12, 90-14, 116, and then you can place your machine needles where they go as you're working through projects so that they're always labeled for you and at hand. Or you could put your favorite hand sewing needles in here. You can see that little addition of a pocket is so nice because you can just drop in your favorite scissors. Even a couple spools of thread will fit into that pocket. And then just, excuse me, close it up. And you have your cute little embellished needle case. So easy to do. You could even get kids involved in this project or somebody who has never sewn before. They'll get a little taste of hand sewing, how to form lazy daisy stitches or any stitches that you prefer, and then putting together a needle case. It's a great first project, a great gift to make, and super simple. A great way to use up fabric scraps as well. Jennifer says you could certainly add a snap or Velcro to close it. Perfect idea, exactly. A little Velcro dot or something like that would work great to close it if you wanted to. Or even a piece of fold over elastic, let's say. You could add a fold over elastic loop before you sew it together and then wrap that fold over elastic around the whole thing, much like we did with our In the Hoop notebook covers. So this is kind of what I'm thinking is you could add something like this to it, a piece of fold over elastic, and then just wrap it around your needle case to close it, keeping everything nice and tidy. Who has done our In the Hoop notebook cover embroidery sewing session with designs by Juju? Just so excited about that one. I have made so many of these. I know I keep telling you that, but I just love it so much. All right. I digress. There's just so many projects, so little time, right? So I hope you enjoyed that all of the projects I talked about today are relatively quick and easy and can be completed in no time. So these are some quickies you can make still in time to celebrate National Sewing Month. And as we look ahead, I want to make sure you are all aware of our next video cast. This one is happening October 11 at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And I will be teaching you along with an Australian handwork designer, Gail Pan. Not only is she a handwork designer, but she's a quilt designer, an applique designer, a fabric designer. She is super talented, and I can't wait for you all to meet her and get a lesson from her directly. She resides in Australia, so I'm going to be doing a lot of the demo for the free motion portion of Tinsel and Trimmings video cast. We're going to be making this beautiful table runner, but the most important thing is Gail is going to go over her tips for hand embroidery to make these beautiful hand embroidered holiday themed embroideries. Then I am going to show you my take on it, and I'm going to do these embroideries free motion style. Okay? We are going to drop our feed dogs, and I'm going to show you how to free motion these designs. So if handwork is not your thing, I forget who said handwork is not my thing. If it's not your thing, we are going to be using our machine to create almost the same look. All right, so you're going to be learning the handwork technique, learning the free motion technique, and then we're also going to learn how to quilt the table runner. And we're going to be working with a variety of different threads. So you will have your choice between adding a little bit of sparkle and using Sulky poly sparkle threads, adding a little bit of texture and using Sulky filaine thread, I know, or you can use the Sulky cotton petites that we will be using for both the handwork or the free motion versions of embroidery. So many techniques we are going to learn during this video cast, and you can sign up now. You can grab a kit for the table runner. The kit is going to include stabilizers and threads and all sorts of stuff. And then we also have a fabric bundle. So if you want to add on a fabric bundle, we'll be working with these beautiful fabrics behind me. You can see I have my portion of this demo in various stages in my sewing room right now because we will be going live with this video cast video cast in less than 2 weeks. So I have some work still to be done, but these beautiful, beautiful fabrics are what are included in the kit. This is a brand new fabric from Moda, and we're pairing it with a really pretty plaid fabric from Michael Miller for the borders, or excuse me, for the binding and the little frame borders. So if you want to add a fabric bundle to your kit, you'll have everything that you need to create the table runner, or you can work from fabrics in your stash and grab up the kit and do a red work style table runner like is shown in this photo. All right, so I think I managed to cover everything today. Phew! That was a lot to process, so I appreciate your time, and I hope that you were able to follow everything well. And, oh, sorry, we've got some questions coming in. Judy says, is the candy corn case machine embroidery? Yes, it is. The candy corn clutch is done entirely in the hoop of your embroidery machine. All right. And Dawn says, that is a cute reindeer. I love her designs. They're just so cute and homey and holiday themed. There's a reindeer, an elf, and a snowman. They all coordinate in these really cute Christmas trees. So you'll learn free motion embroidery. You'll learn free motion quilting. We're going to go over hand quilting techniques. And don't worry, it's not a lot because it's just a table runner, right? And we're also going to be learning all of Gail's great handwork techniques as well. So I hope you will join for Tinsel and Trimmings and grab up a kit because they are only available while supplies last. And we did get minimal quantities of the fabric kit. So if you want to add your fabric kit to the purchase of your sort of base Tinsel and Trimmings kit, you'll need to make sure to do so soon, because once those are gone, they're gone. These fabrics were actually really difficult to get because they're brand new collections. And so we were not able to get a whole lot of those fabric kits. So if you're interested in these new Moda fabrics, and let me just go, I'm just going to grab the plaid fabric so you all can see. This is the plaid fabric we'll be using to go along with it. So it's a great, great holiday vibe. I think it's a really, really pretty take on Gail's table runner that you see here. And it's got some gold in it that you can see. And when you create your binding and frames, plaid fabric just takes on a whole different look. So I really think it's a cool combination, and I look forward to teaching you all how this all comes together. You know, I've learned a lot about free motion over the years, actually from Eric Drexler, who's a national educator for Sulky. And so I'm really glad to share it with other people because I think they get really scared about dropping the feed dogs on the sewing machine. And oh my gosh, now I have all control. And what if I make a mistake? Well, we're going to make mistakes together because I will be showing you this in a video cast. So I've got multiple cameras running. I'll be sewing in real time so you can watch me make all the mistakes and we will recover from them together. And we will come up with a beautiful table runner for the holidays. Also, the pattern that comes with the kit, the Tinsel and Trimmings table runner, also comes with instructions for making a wall hanging out of just one of the blocks. So there's a lot of different ways you can combine these designs, make a larger quilt, make a wall hanging with 3 designs going vertically, make a wall hanging that features just one design. So again, this is sort of your base pattern, and then you can take it from there and jump off and create a project that you love out of it. So, all right. What is the hanging being hung? Oh, are you talking about this? Okay. So that is a little placemat that I made that is featuring Sulky Poly Sparkle thread, and it's a Designs by Juju design, and it says thankful, and it has a little pumpkin scene on it for Thanksgiving, and it's being held up there by a giant magnet. And it's actually a magnet that's used to store knives in your kitchen. So if you've ever seen those knife block magnets, that's what that is. And then I got some clip magnets, put it on there, and that's what I'm using to display things behind me here on the So What. So there you go. Thanks for asking. All right, Cecilia is ready to start Christmas. So if you are too, join us for Tinsel and Trimmings videocast on October 11, and you will have a great new piece to add to your holiday decor in plenty of time for the holidays. So grab up the needle case pattern. It's absolutely free. Grab up our candy corn clutch kit. We only have a few available. Let's see what else. Make your full bobbins, full hearts, cute little sewing pillow, and celebrate the remainder of National Sewing Month. But most importantly, grab up your mystery box so that you can get one before they sell out. We always have limited quantities of these, so I am amazed that we still have some left, but it is your chance to get one while the getting's good. So I hope you all enjoyed today. I certainly enjoyed being here with all of you and seeing you all come in and say hello. I appreciate it so much that you choose to spend your afternoons with me. So I will see you on Tuesday for another So What. Have a great weekend, everyone.